about 5 pumps. Fire it up. Keep pumping it.
My name is Gary Gove. I'm out of Seattle, Washington. I raced this car in 1966 for Alan Green Chevrolet, a Chevrolet performance dealer in Seattle.
Give it some gas. Love some gas.
We raced it all up and down the west coast, Riverside, from Riverside to Seattle to Canada. And then today is the first time I've seen the car in about 50 years. So I'm older, the car's older, the car still looks the same as it did in 1966, whereas I don't so much. And the car would pull 170 miles an hour down the back straightaway at Riverside, which made getting into turn 9 a really fearful event because your eyes were right out on the end of their stalks. And the best way was to turn the car in and let it slide, because if you tried to just use the brakes, it was too much for the brakes. I love this car. It was fun to race. If you put it in 4th gear, it just started breathing air and it ran. I drove for Alan Green Chevrolet. They had a car called a Cheetah, and I raced it in 1965. And then in 1966, I raced this car.
So my name's Joe Scafidi. Alan Green Chevrolet was a significant muscle car dealer and wanted to be one of the bigger Corvette dealers in the Northwest.
We also ran Trans Am with a Chevrolet Camaro Z28. Budweiser was the mechanic on this car and the Camaro, and is still a very good friend of mine.
It was a 425 horsepower, 427 equipped coupe with standard 4-speed transmission and power brakes. That was it. Bare bones, big block muscle car.
I drove it off the showroom floor, and we raced it the day after that.
They raced it in stock form, roll bar, bigger tires, and some wheel well modifications for the first month or so. And then from that point on, they were in contact with GM engineers and started to use GM heavy-duty parts.
I called Vince Piggins and I called Gib Hufstetter, and they supplied us with the few things that Chevrolet had that helped the car live longer and run better.
The HD 427, the M22 transmission, the 36-gallon fuel tank, and then that's when the car really started to perform on the racetrack.
They had a marine camshaft at that time. We installed that. There was a scoop for the rear differential to cool that off and stop the frequent failures. There were some brake pieces that we got. Chevrolet at that time was very helpful.
It's an ex-vintage race car, raced in the 1966 season by Alan Green Chevrolet.
We won races all over the West Coast.
I found this car through a friend, approached me with some photos. I got a partner on the car. We brought the car back to Massachusetts.
I only drove it the 1 year. It was in A production. That was the hot stuff at the time. We qualified with enough points to go to the runoffs at Riverside. We had an engine that was done by Harold Day, who was Chuck Day's big brother. Harold Day built the Mexico Lincolns for Ford Motor Company. Harold was a genius. At Riverside, we were up against the 427 Cobras. I was doing 170 miles an hour down the back, and the 427 Cobra was doing 183, and he could leave black streaks on the floor, on the ground. They were quite a bit lighter. This car weighed 2950 to 3050, depending on the day. The Cobras were easily 800 pounds lighter than that. Plus, they had Shelby's Cobra drivers. I mean, Ken Miles was probably the fastest Cobra driver ever. And Carroll Shelby has admitted none of it would have worked. None of it without Ken Miles. It's still fun to look at.
You drove on this side?
Yeah, it's on the driver's side.
Well, not as good as Carroll Shelby, but less practice.
Beautiful.
The thing I gotta ask Bud is whether this originally had 3